I was 19. When my father told me to leave. No shouting. No long speech. Just one sentence. You made your choice. Now live with it. I was standing in the hallway. With a small suitcase. And a secret growing inside me. I wasn't married. And in his house. That was unforgivable. My mother didn't stop him. She just looked away. I waited for him to change his mind. He didn't. The door closed behind me. And just like that, I stopped being his daughter. It was already dark. Cold. I stood outside the gate. Longer than I should have. Like maybe, if I didn't move, this wouldn't be real. I checked my phone. 3 missed calls. From him. For a second. Hope came back. Maybe he regretted it. I answered. His voice was firm. Don't come back. The line went dead. I wasn't just kicked out. I was erased. And for the first time, I felt truly alone. I placed my hand on my stomach. Everything suddenly felt heavier. It wasn't just me anymore. I could cry later. I could break later. But right now, I had to think. I called my best friend. She didn't ask questions. Come over, she said. That night, I slept on her couch. Not comfortably. Not peacefully. But safely. And somewhere between fear and exhaustion, I made a quiet promise. No matter what happened, my child would never feel unwanted. The next week, I started looking for work. I needed money. Fast. But interviews felt different now. They didn't just see a young woman. They saw my stomach. They saw trouble. One manager smiled politely. We'll call you. They never did. Another didn't even pretend. We need someone more stable. I understood what that meant. Single. Pregnant. No family support. To them, I was a risk. But I didn't have the luxury of quitting. Every rejection hurt. But every rejection also hardened me. Because I wasn't fighting for pride anymore. I was fighting for survival. At 6 months, I had a scare. Sharp pain. Sudden dizziness. My friend rushed me to the hospital. I remember holding my stomach. Whispering. Please, stay. The doctor said it was stress. Too much pressure. Not enough rest. I needed stability. I laughed quietly at that word. Stability. I stepped outside the hospital. And did something I swore I wouldn't do. I called my father. He answered. I told him what happened. There was silence. Then he said, "You chose this life." And he hung up. That was the moment I stopped hoping. The day my daughter was born, everything shifted. The room was small. The lights were too bright. But when I heard her cry, the world became quiet. They placed her in my arms. She was tiny. Warm. Perfect. I looked at her and realized something. I wasn't abandoned. I was redirected. She wrapped her fingers around mine. And in that moment, I stopped feeling like a mistake. Because if she existed, then maybe this wasn't a failure. Maybe this was a beginning. And I knew one thing for sure. No one would ever close a door on her. 2 months after she was born, I found a small job. Receptionist. Part-time. The pay wasn't impressive. But it was mine. I worked mornings. While my friend watched my daughter. I learned quickly. Answered calls. Organized files. Stayed late when needed. My boss noticed. "You're reliable," he said once. No one had called me that before. Reliable. It felt different. Every paycheck went to diapers, rent, and a tiny savings account. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't fast. But it was steady. And steady was enough. 1 year later, my boss called me into his office. "I'm opening a new branch," he said. "I need someone I trust." My heart started racing. It meant more hours. More responsibility. More money. But it also meant risk. Childcare costs would rise. Time would shrink. I went home that night. And watched my daughter sleep. I thought about the door. That once closed on me. And I made a decision. I'll do it, I told him the next morning. It wasn't just a promotion. It was proof. I wasn't the mistake. I was the investment. 3 years passed. Then 5. Then 7. My daughter started school. I became branch manager. My savings account was no longer tiny. It was solid. Stable. One afternoon, an old neighbor called me. I almost didn't answer, but I did. I thought you should know, she said. Your father is struggling. I didn't react. He's behind on payments, she continued. The house might go on the market. The house. The same house. Where I was told to leave. For a moment. Everything felt still. Not painful. Just ironic. Yeraha Part 10 AB Destiny quietly shift hone Wally High. Clapperboard Part 10 English. A week later. I saw the listing online. The house was officially for sale. Same white walls. Same wooden door. Different price. Lower. Much lower. I stared at the screen longer than I expected. Memories didn't rush back. They stood still. Cold. Clear. I checked my savings. Then I called my bank. The advisor asked, "Is this for investment?" I paused. "Yes," I said calmly. But this wasn't revenge. Not loud revenge. It was something quieter. A full circle. And for the first time, I wasn't the one outside the door. Auction day felt unreal. I dressed simple. Neutral. Calm. No one there knew my story. To them, I was just another buyer. The house looked smaller than I remembered. Older. Tired. The bidding started. 2 investors. 1 older couple. And me. My heart stayed steady. Numbers went up. Voices tightened. Then it ended. Sold. My name. My signature. My house. As I stepped outside, I saw him across the street. My father. Watching. For a moment. We just stared at each other. No anger. No shouting. Just recognition. He looked older. Smaller somehow. His shoulders weren't as straight as I remembered. He walked toward me slowly. "You bought it?" he asked. I nodded. His eyes searched my face. Like he was looking for bitterness. He didn't find it. "I didn't know it was you," he said quietly. "I know," I replied. There was no satisfaction in my voice. Just calm. For the first time in my life, I wasn't asking for anything. And he wasn't deciding my future. He cleared his throat. I need some time," he said. The bank gave me 30 days. I understood what he was really asking. Not forgiveness. Not love. Time. "In my house?" I asked gently. He looked down. "It's still my home," he muttered. I let that sit between us. Memories filled the silence. A suitcase. A closed door. A 19-year-old girl standing outside. I could have said no. I had every right to. Instead, I chose something harder. "You can stay," I said calmly. "But under a contract." This wasn't revenge. It was accountability. The next day, I brought the papers. Simple lease agreement. Clear terms. Clear dates. Rent due on the 1st. Utilities in his name. No delays. He read every line slowly. His hands trembled slightly. "You don't trust me?" he asked. I met his eyes. "This is how adults handle responsibility." He nodded. Signed. The same man, who once told me to survive alone, was now asking permission to stay. I didn't feel proud. I felt steady. Because this wasn't about control. It was about balance. And finally, the balance was fair. A week later, my daughter came to visit the house. She ran through the hallway, laughing. "This place is big, Mommy," she said. I watched him from the kitchen doorway. He was standing still, staring at her. She looked like me. The same eyes. The same stubborn chin. "Who's that?" she asked, pointing at him. I walked over calmly. "This is your grandfather." The word felt heavy in the air. He swallowed. "Hi," he said softly. She smiled. Children don't carry history. They don't feel old wounds. But adults do. And in that moment, he finally understood what he had lost. That evening, he knocked on my door. Not loud. Not demanding. Just hesitant. I was wrong, he said. No excuses this time. No lectures. I thought I was protecting my reputation. He looked tired. I lost my daughter over pride. The words hung in the air. Years ago, I would have cried. Tonight, I didn't. I don't hate you, I said calmly. But understanding comes late sometimes. He nodded slowly. I don't expect forgiveness, he whispered. And for once, I believed him. 2 weeks before the contract ended, he came to me again. I can't afford to buy it back, he admitted. I know. There was no shame in his voice now. Just acceptance. He placed an envelope on the table. It's the last rent payment. I didn't open it. Instead, I said something he didn't expect. I'm not selling. He looked confused. This house isn't an investment anymore, I continued. It's a reminder. Not of pain. Of growth. I wasn't keeping it to hurt him. I was keeping it. Because I earned it. And this time, no one could take it from me. Yeraha Part 18 AB Final Decision Ka Walked A to High. Clapperboard Part 18 English. The contract was ending. 30 days were almost over. He stood in the living room. Looking around slowly. I'll find a smaller place, he said. His voice was steady. No anger. No bitterness. Just reality. I watched him carefully. You can renew the lease, I said. He looked surprised. But understand something, I continued. This is my home now. Not his authority. Not his rules. Just walls and structure. He nodded. I know, he replied. And for the first time, he truly did. One afternoon, my daughter was drawing at the table. She looked up at him and asked, Grandpa, why don't you live with your dad? He froze. I felt the air shift. She continued innocently. My mommy says homes are for families. No accusation. No blame. Just truth. He looked at me. Then at her. And I saw it. Regret. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just deep. Children don't try to teach lessons. But sometimes, they say what adults avoid. And that day, she said everything. A month later, he moved into a smaller apartment. Not far, but no longer here. We didn't fight. We didn't argue. We just understood. Sometimes consequences don't shout. They settle. I visit him occasionally. With my daughter. He's softer now. Quieter. Life has a way of teaching. What pride refuses to learn. The house is peaceful. Sunlight fills the hallway. Where I once stood with a suitcase. Now my daughter runs through it. Laughing. Safe. Doors still close in life. But this one, I own it. Home.